Hi, this is Steph with Belladonna Dyes, and today we're going to do an experiment with the spent muck. So you want to start by smoothing out your shirt and then decide where you want the center of your spiral to be. And I was going to go in the center like I always do, and then I thought I'm going to try something different and go down here at the bottom. So I'm using a fork that has 2 tines bent backwards, and I'm using the microwave splatter guard that I got from Amazon, and there is a link for it down below in the description box along with everything else that I use for tie-dye, so make sure you check that out. And now pay attention. So I use the fork to get the spiral started, but I'm using my opposite hand to actually create the spiral. So I'm not putting a lot of tension on the center of that spiral. And I know I keep saying this, but I keep hearing, I'm tearing holes in my shirt, Steph, what do I do? I need you guys to pay attention. Don't put a lot of pressure on that center of the spiral. It's not necessary. The fork or the hemostat or tweezers or whatever you use is just there to maybe make 2-3 twists, and that's it. You use your opposite hand to make that spiral. Go as far as you can with the microwave splatter guard, and then you're gonna have to do the rest on your own. So if you just watch me here, I'm just gonna continue making pleats, and I hold down the center of it so it doesn't come undone. And then once I get it all pleated up, I'm going to secure it by using my second favorite rubber bands. This shirt is a size small, so my favorite rubber bands would be way too big. Once I get a couple rubber bands on the shirt, then I like to start creating a nice tight spiral. So I will pull on the loose tails and I will tuck them into the nearest rubber band. That way it's nice and tight, so when you have to pick it up and move it, it's not going to fall apart on you. So I'm just going to briefly touch on the inspiration here for doing the different spiral. Cheryl in my Facebook group, and it's Belladonna Dyes tie-dye community group, and you can find the link for it down below in the description box. If you're not a member, I highly recommend you join because there are a lot of really great people in there cranking out some awesome tie-dye and sharing their tips and tricks, because my group is a learning group, and there's just so much information in there from people that are willing to answer your questions. Cheryl has been doing these sort of offset spirals, and I admire them. And where I first originally learned how to do them would be Fun Endeavors Tie-Dye Lab Angie. She makes these all the time, but I've been seeing Cheryl's in my face on my iPad constantly, and I just thought, you know, that looks really good, so I'm going to give it a try. And I'm glad that I did, and so I'm going to have a whole bunch more coming up after this tutorial. So here's where the experiment part comes in. There's a lot of information on a quick little tutorial. Okay, so I get a lot of comments and questions about the muck water that I pour down the drain. Some are nice, and some are telling me that I'm wasteful. But I can tell you that Procyon dye and soda ash have a 48-hour window of reaction time, and after that, it is null. So I batched the infinity scarf for 48 hours in heat. And instead of pouring it out, I was curious. Let's give it a try and see what happens. So I put this spiral in immediately after taking the scarf out. You can still see the condensation on the lid from the infinity scarf that was in there, okay? That's the one thing. If you're gonna try this, you have to do it right away. I batched it for another 48 hours in heat in my electric blanket, because if it had a fighting chance, it was going to need high heat. So this shirt batched for 48 hours. Okay, it's time for the rinse out. So I'm treating it like I would any other tie-dye. I start by using cold water to rinse away any soda ash that might still be reacting within the fabric. And I know that there's no possible way after 4 days, 5 days even, that there's anything going on, but I still am going through the motions. So cold water to rinse out as much of that dye as you can, and then hot water. From here, I took it to the washing machine and I used Curolon to wash it, and I used Milsoft in the final hot water cycle to soften it back up. And pay attention to how beautiful it actually looks. Like, I was standing here thinking, oh my gosh, is everything that I know about tie-dye wrong? Does it actually still work after 48 hours? Because look at how beautiful it is. Well, pay attention and we'll come back and we'll see the results. Well, here it is, guys. Here's our spent muck water experiment after it's been washed and dried with the regular laundering process. And this is exactly what I thought it was going to do. I was hopeful it would stay that really pretty purple color, but there is just no way. The chemical reaction with the Procyon dye and the soda ash after 48 hours is null, and it's showing it to you right here. Now, I suspect with continued washings, this is just going to continue to lighten up, and it's not going to have the longevity of the regular traditional method of tie-dyeing. So there are probably other ways you could put shirts in muck during the 48-hour process, but until I do it, I don't know. So when you guys see me pouring that muck water down the drain, there is a reason for it. I am not being wasteful. It's just not going to do anything. So overall, I like the shirt, but I'm concerned about the longevity. It's good for family members that aren't into crazy loud tie-dye. So, I'm going to give it off to one of them and, maybe revisit this in 6 months after several washings and see what it's done. So, we'll see. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel, leave a thumbs up and click the bell and set it to all. That way you get notified of future uploads. And remember, have fun tie-dyeing.